Thank you very much for liking this video first of all and sharing the link of this video in your groups, and welcome to this channel of mine, the name of which is Gaurav Kumar Jain, and here you are attending free live online coding classes. So as you guys know that we are already done with defining the required code for these three screens in lecture number 19. Okay, so these were the three screens. This is a screen 1 and this is a screen 2 and this one is a screen 3, the name of which is family, and we are done with defining the code for all the components which are there present on this screens. Now we are going to come on this admin panel and let's start defining the code first for this message box over here. So I need to come down first, and over here I would like to use this uneven block. So I'm placing it over here. Now the idea of this message box is message box. Let's copy the idea of this from the design panel and replace this ID with the ID of this message box. Now when the user will write down something over here, I would like that thing to get reflected in this writing pad, or this is a text area which I am using as a writing pad over here. So whatever the user will write over here, I would like that to get reflected over here in this writing pad. What we can do for that is we can make use of the set property block. Right, let's place it inside this uneven block, and now the ID of this writing pad is writing pad. Yeah, let's copy this from the workspace of the design panel, coming back on the coding window, and let's replace this ID with writing pad. Now what we are doing, we are trying to set the text of this writing pad, right, equal to the text whatever the user is going to write down over here. So for doing that, we need to select text from this second drop down, and now in order to set the text of this writing pad equal to the text of this message box, we need to get the text of this message box first. So for getting the input the user is going to make here, we can make use of this get text property. Where is that? Yeah, this is the one. So let's put it over here in this third part. Now the ID of this message box is this. Let's replace this ID with message box. Let's check out whether this code over here is going to give us the right output or not. So I'm going to come on this design panel, and let's make this main screen the default screen. So for doing that, we can select this main from this drop down, and let's set this make default button. So now when you will run this app, this is a screen you are going to come across. Okay, let's see whether the code that we have defined over here is it going to give us the correct output or not. Okay, so let's write down something over here. I am a coder. Sorry, not here. I want to write down something over here. I am a coder. So I'm done with writing down this sentence over here, but nothing is getting reflected over here. Why? Because I haven't clicked on this message box. So this code will get executed only when the user will click on this message box. Let's see what is going to happen when we will hit this message box over here. So as you can see now this I am coder is getting reflected in this writing pad over here, but I don't want that to happen. I want to code this message box in such a way that as soon as the user write down something over here, it should be visible to us over here in this writing pad immediately, or you can say instantly. So what we can do, we can convert it into block based coding, and in place of this click, let's select some other option. Do we have any option like input in this second drop down? Let's check that out. So yes, we have this input over here. Let's select this. Now when you will reset this app and run it again, let's see whether we are going to get the correct output or not. So okay, as you can see, I is getting reflected over here. M a coder. See, I am getting the correct result, right? So input is the option you need to select in this second drop down of this on even block. Fine, let's convert it into text-based coding. Okay, now let's define the code for these drop downs. Suppose the user want to change the background color of this writing pad, so he need to select the required color from this drop down, right? Now I want, as soon as the user selects any color from this drop down, the background of this writing pad should become of that color. If suppose the user selects green color, then the background should become green. If he selects red color, then the background should become red. So for doing that, we can make use of this uneven block. Let's place it, or else we can just copy this whole thing and put it over here. Okay, now what is the ID of this drop down? It is drop down 2, so I'm replacing this with the ID of this select component. When the user will input something from this drop down 2, I would like the background color of this to change accordingly. Now this is perfectly fine. We need to have writing pad in this first drop down, and let's change this text to background color, because we are trying to set the background color of this writing pad. So we need to select background color from here, and from where can we get the color of this writing pad? So we can get it from this drop down too. So let's copy this whole thing and place it inside this get text block. So this is going to give us the correct output. Now I'm going to copy this whole thing and place it over here. So the way we have defined this code for controlling the background color of this writing pad, depending on the selection the user is going to make from this drop down to, in the same way we can control the font family style of the text which is going to get reflected in this writing pad based on the selection the user is going to make from this drop down 1. So for doing that, what we can do, we can replace this drop down 2 by 1 first, and then let's change it to block based coding and select font family from the second drop down. And from where can we get the input for this option, for this field? We can get it easily from the drop down 1. This is a drop down, right? So we are done with successfully connecting this writing pad with both these drop downs now. Fine. Okay, now let's define the required code for these 4 sliders that are getting reflected on this mobile screen. So I'm going to define the code for this first slider first. I'm copying this whole thing and putting it right below this code in this workspace. Now the idea of this slider is red slider. Let's replace it with red slider first. When the user will make any changes in this red slider, I want to see the red component of the background color of this writing pad to change. Fine, because every color is made up of 3 different components. One is the red component, then green component, then blue component. That is the reason we say RGB, right? So if you want to change the red value of the background color of this component, so you can connect this writing pad to this slider, and let's define the required code now, because we want to change the background color. Okay, so we need to select background color from this second drop down, and let's connect it to all these 3 sliders. So for doing that, there is a block which you can find easily in this UI controls panel. The name of that block is RGB. So you can put it over here. Okay, and I don't require this fourth number, so I'm eliminating this for now. Okay, so the first value is for the red component, then it is for the green component, and it is for controlling the blue component of any color. So how can we get from where can we get the value of this red component? To get it from this slider, or you can say to get it to connect this first part of this RGB component with this slider, we can make use of get number. Okay, so there is get number in this UI controls. Let's place it over here. Now in order to connect this first part of this red slider, we can just replace this ID with red slider like this. Let's copy this whole thing and paste it in the second part and this fourth part of the RGB block. Okay, now I would like to connect this second part. I would like to fetch the value of this second part using this green slider, or you can say from this green slider. So let's replace this red with green, because the idea of this green slider is second slider is green slider. Similarly, if you want to connect this, if you want to pick up the value of this third part of this RGB from this third slider, you just have to replace this red with blue, because the name of this third slider is blue slider. Okay, let's see whether we are going to get the required output with this code that we have defined over here or not. Let's run this app. Now if I will make changes here, so as you can see, the background color is changing, right? So it is a red value of the background color of this writing pad which is changing right now. But because we haven't defined any uneven block for these two sliders, so you will not be able to see any kind of changes in the background color if you will change the values of these sliders. Okay, now in order to see the required changes, you have to copy this whole code and paste it twice in this workspace. Okay, and now let's connect this writing part to this green slider. So we can just replace this red with green, and you'll get to see the changes now. Similarly, we can replace this with blue, and now when you'll run this app and shift this towards right or left, you will be able to see the background color changing. So it is a blue color of the background color, the blue color value of the background color with which you can play with the help of this blue slider. Similarly, if you want to play with the green value of the background color of the writing pad, you guys can make use of this green slider, right? So that's how you can make use of the slider component. Now let's define the required code for this font sizes slider. So let's copy this whole thing. Let's copy this whole code, and I'm placing it right in the bottom. Okay, now the ID of this component is font size. Let's replace this with font size. Okay, because we want to change, we would like the font of the text which is going to get reflected in this writing pad to change on the basis of the value of this font size slider. So that is the reason the first thing that we are going to do is we need to select font size from this in the second drop down, and let's connect this with this slider now. So again, we guys can make use of this get number property, and we can place it in place of this 14. So the idea of this slider is font size, right? Let's replace it with font size. Okay, now I'm going to run this app and check out whether this code which we have defined over here, is it working fine or not. So let's write down something over here. I am a coder. Okay, let's now see whether we'll be able to change the font size using this slider or not. Let's shift it towards the right side first. Okay, so as you can see, I'm able to increase the font size. Similarly, if you'll shift it towards right side, left hand side, you will be able to reduce the font size. Okay, so I am able to get the required output from this code I've defined in this workspace. Now I am going to run this app on 3 different browsers and check out whether this app is working fine or not. Okay, I am done with deleting the tables which were there present on the data browser connected to the app. Let's open 3 different browsers and check whether the app is running fine or not. In case you want to avail the facility of the coding classes in which I am teaching Python currently, so you guys are most welcome to contact me on my phone number 9891665634. Okay, and then do not forget to share and like the video and share the link of this video in your groups, because I want my videos to reach to the maximum number of students possible. And thank you very much to all of you for showering your love and respect on this channel for me. So you have to assume as if this is the first device, this is the second device, and this one is the third device. So it's a real-time multi-device application, right? Okay, so I think we need to change something over here. Let's make this screen 1 the default screen, because I want the user to come on this screen first when he accesses the app on the device he is carrying. Okay, so on this first device I am going to access the colors panel. For that I need to write down color, I think, in both these fields. Okay, so here is the colors panel. Let's write down
colors from here.
Family in this first component, and the same thing I'm going to write down over here also in this password field for accessing the font family
Welcome
screen.
to family screen.
Here
You may
I
add
am
font
going to
families from here.
access the admins panel by inputting main in these 2 fields. Okay.
Welcome admin on the main screen.
So now let's add some colors to this drop down which is there getting reflected on this main panel. So for that we need to hit this green first.
You added the green color successfully.
So in real time, you know, this color is added to this drop down one. Let's add this yellow color.
You added the yellow color successfully.
Then red.
You added the blue color
now
successfully.
I'm going to see whether all the names of all these 4 colors are going to visible to us over here in the option section of this drop down or not. So all the 4 colors are visible to us over here, right? Let's add these font families also to this drop down too. Done with adding
the Arial font family successfully.
It's getting reflected over here. Done with adding the Georgia
font. You added
the
Georgia font family successfully.
Done with adding Palatino.
You added the Palatino font family
Done
successfully.
with adding the Times New Roman
You
font.
added the Palatino font family
whether
successfully.
the names of all these font families are there getting reflected in this option section or not. Okay, so we are able to see the names of all the font families over here. Okay, now let's write down something here in this message box. I am teaching code.org to my students at present. Okay, So as you can see, I am able to get the required output over here in this writing part. Let's see what is going to happen when we will hit this blue option over here. Okay, so the color of this writing pad has changed from red to blue. Let's see what is going to happen when we'll hit this green option. It has changed to green. Okay, it will be whether we can, is it possible for us to change the font family of this text which is getting reflected in this writing part? Let's check that out. So I would like to get it reflected in Palatino. Okay, as you can see, the font family has changed, right? Times New Roman, yeah, it is working perfectly fine. Yellow, okay, great. Let's now check out whether we'll be able to increase and decrease the font size of this text or not. So, okay, I'm able to increase the font size. Yes. Okay. Let's see whether I will be able to play with the red component of this green background or not. So, yes, I'm able to see the required changes over here. Let's play with the green component of the background color. Yes, I'm able to see the required changes happening in real time on this device, right? So that's how you can develop a writing pad, a real-time writing pad, a real-time multi-device writing pad, rather I should say like this, using the basic features of Applab. Hope you guys enjoyed this lecture a lot. Do like and share this video in your groups so that more and more students can come and join the channel and learn to code free of cost. In case you have any query, you are most welcome to use the comment section. You guys can write down your queries, write down your questions in the comment section. Definitely I'm going to respond to your queries whenever I will get the time to do the same. And again, in the last, I would like to say thank you to everyone who is sharing and liking the videos of this channel, because this action of yours is definitely going to make my videos popular and make them reach to those students who really want to learn coding. Okay, thank you very much. God bless you all and have a great day. Bye bye.